Your digestion is largely affected by your autonomic nervous system. When you are stressed out, your body will switch to this sympathetic nervous state, also known as the flight and flight mode. When you are in the sympathetic nervous stage, digestion will not be prioritized, and this can be a huge issue, especially when you are someone constantly in the sympathetic overactivation stage. In this video, I'm going to discuss how different types of vicious cycles within your pathways can affect your overall well-being. Some of you might think that if we want to support the digestion, we can take some digestive enzyme to help to resolve the issues. But sadly to say, it's not as simple as you think. Our body is so sophisticated that if the underlying issues is not being addressed, the symptoms will keep coming back. In order to break this vicious cycle, first you have to remove the known stresses. It could be the food you eat every day that causes you this food sensitivity, your lifestyle behavior, and all these environmental triggers that can come as poor air and water, your work stress, or even toxic relationships for some people. Let's say if you manage to remove stress and enter parasympathetic nervous stage, the vagus nerve, which is part of the rest and digest state, will release acetylcholine. And acetylcholine plays a crucial role in the stimulation of bowel secretion. With the help of the bowel and proper digestion induced by the parasympathetic nervous stage, now your body is able to break down food particles, absorb the nutrients and convert them into energy that your body needs. But what happens if you're constantly stuck in the sympathetic nervous stage? The constant stress will deplete nutrients, especially those needed for your methylation cycle. And the vicious cycle will start to look something like this. Your autonomic nervous systems will switch to sympathetic nervous state. The flight and fight mode will actually inhibit digestion and bowel release. Since nutrient absorption is being reduced, there will be less calcium available for us to bind to oxalates. And oxalates is a natural occurring chemical which our body produces as a byproduct. With the higher amount of oxalate absorptions, now you have a higher chance of getting these kidney stones. We know that bowel has these antibactericidal properties. With the reduced amount of bowel flow, you will now have a high chance of getting this small intestine's bacterial overgrowth. If we go deeper, poor absorption can cause vitamins and mineral deficiencies. And these deficiencies can further impact your methylation cycle, which can then affect your SAMe productions. With low SAMe, it now affects other pathways and downstream genes and enzymes that require SAMe as cofactors. These are your methyltransferase enzymes such as your HNMT, which helps to metabolize histamine. The COMT also helps to metabolize your estrogen and neurotransmitters. Your ASMP, which helps to convert serotonin to your melatonin. And if this is malfunction, it will affect your sleep quality. And 80% of the SAMe is primarily used by PEMT and GMT for the formation of your creatine and phosphatidylcholine. If you pause and think for a short while, does chronic stress makes you lose your muscle and age faster? It's a definite yes. Then if you dive into the rabbit hole of maldigestion, there's another bigger vicious cycle going on. The production of your stomach acids requires vitamin B1 and zinc. When stressed out, you do not have the nutrients to support the production of your hydrochloric acids. Low stomach acid will increase the risk of getting acid reflux and also allow more bad bacteria to proliferate because low stomach acid equates to less acidic environment. And if you're someone prescribed with this proton pump inhibitor or H2 blockers, this can further reduce your hydrochloric acid levels. And with long-term use, they may even progress to this acohydria. And if you view it in cellular perspective, the mineral deficiency and the increase of infections can actually affect our mitochondrial functions, our energy powerhouse. This can reduce ATP production significantly, and ATP is the currency we use in our body as energy. Reduced ATP can affect your methylation cycle and makes you feel fatigued easier. Eventually, when you combine all these effects and view them together, your nutrient deficiency can lead to mitochondrial dysfunctions. Your PEMT can affect your cell membrane integrity. You have increased reactive oxygen species, more oxidative stress. All this, when they start to pile up, they can greatly burden your immune system. And if the stress keeps coming in, it can cascade into inflammations, even a cell danger response, cell death, and even to this organ dysfunction. Then slowly it will progress to this what we call as disease state. And different symptoms can start showing up at different timeline. Do you see where it goes? This vicious cycle interplay with one another, and it can affect you in a multifactorial way. Vicious cycle can also happen in our body within our gut. When you have low stomach acid, do you actually rule out if you have this H. pylori bacteria? H. pylori can actually neutralize your stomach acids. And this will actually allow more bacteria, all these bad bugs to come in because now your stomach acid is unable to eradicate them. Or is it because of poor diet that lack nutrients to make your acid stronger? Or do you consume a very high amount of sugar and carbohydrate intake that feeds all these bad bugs that allow them to go rampage? Or it could be the anti-nutrients you're consuming. The vegetables, all the nuts and seeds, coffee and tea, all these anti-nutrients will inhibit your nutrient absorptions, then goes into this low stomach acids. It's a vicious cycle. It's an ongoing thing, and this can go on and on until you break the chain and remove yourself from this vicious cycle. You'll be slightly easier if you find someone in a functional health space to help you link all dots and see the full picture. Because sometimes you are not sure which are the information is the correct one. And most of the time when we go online to search for answers, they can be very misleading. Functional lab tests can be very insightful only if the test result is being analyzed in a functional perspective. It's not going to work if someone is just treating the paper or by simply giving you a pill for an ill. Based on my personal experiences, some of the minerals can actually work together synergistically, or they can actually offset one another, especially when you see sodium and potassium ratio, or the calcium and magnesium ratio, together with all the list over here, the ratios. All this is actually a guide for you, and they can be very insightful if you know when and how to use them. Okay, we have come to the end of this video. Remember that you have to find the source of your stress. Removing the stress is doing yourself a very big favor. It's like breaking the chain and stop the vicious cycle from coming back. If you have not watched the video on how anti-nutrients can impact your nutrient absorptions, do click here.